we haven't actually said we're in a recession or right? Like, when do we do that? When do we know that? And really, do we feel like we're in a recession long before we actually get diagnosed with a recession?
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, exactly. So recessions are officially declared by the National Bureau of Economic Research Business Cycle Dating Committee, which is a group of frankly self-appointed economists who monitor the activity, all economic activity in the US, and they determine if there's been a recession. There's a lot of like interesting things about this business cycle dating committee. First off, it's not a government agency. No government accountability. It's not, and which means if you're like catching my drift or picking up what I'm putting down, Trump can't fire these people. He has no leverage over them.
Oh.
So this is just a group of independent academic economists who look at the like, what is he going to do?
Yeah.
Nothing. It's not a government
We can't
agency.
have
So
any more Zoom, no Zoom meetings for you people.
yeah, yeah, you actually have to grade papers now, like executive order. Um, that would probably devastate them. But this group of economists at the National Bureau of Economic Research, they're affiliated with a bunch of different schools, but this is a group that comes together. They monitor economic activity and then they officially declare a recession, and it's always backdated. So the 2007 to 2009 recession, which I call the Great Recession, they declared it in October of '08 that it started in December of '07. So there's always daylight between when the recession started, like when economic activity declined, versus when they tell us we are officially in it. And the way that I explain it is like, how do you know when you've had a bad week?
Yeah.
Monday morning, not great. Like missed the bus, someone sideswiped my car, a bird pooped on me on the way into the office. Like my boss was there and he's terrible
That's
and
a
he was in
bad
one of his
Monday.
moods. It's a terrible like all like a Monday can be bad, but it's not like at noon on Monday you're like, this is the worst week. And it's like, hang on, drama queen, it's Monday. Like you gotta give it time. And the reason why they're so measured about this is that they don't want every blip to become a recession because recessions have a bit of a self-accumulating process. So they're very much like, okay, well, that was Monday. No good. But let's see how Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday unfold. And they almost always wait till Friday before they're like, okay, this week
Definitely,
sucks.
this week was
Definitely this week was a was a loser, and it's official. This week sucks.
so
The-
in the case of the Great Recession, it sounds like 3 quarters, that they waited until.
Well, yeah, and that one was I think was one where it could have gone either way. The data of the start of the recession through the start of 2008, I mean, there were some, unemployment was ticking up, kind of like it is now. Hiring was ticking down, kind of
Like
like
it
it
is
is
now.
now. The stock market had some measured volatility, kind of like it is now. And then you had the financial crisis. And so once the financial crisis hit, it was just a matter of deciding when the decline in economic activity began. So not when the decline in economic activity reached its peak, but when did the decline begin? So I think based on the economic data we have, the reason why people are so antsy right now is that March is going to give off
A bunch of
potentially
economic data that's
a bunch of economic data that would say
this might be the
they're going to
beginning.
tell us, yeah, they're going to tell us at the end of summer, like, yep, it was March. Or they could, if the data gets bad enough, they'll tell us sooner. I mean, for the COVID pandemic recession, that was a 2-month recession. They did not, they were like, okay, so the economy shed 15 million jobs in March. But they did not wait until November to be like, so yeah, it was definitely a recession. Like, yeah, we all knew, they all knew, and they told us quickly.
Well, and that's a little different, I think, from where we are now, right? Which is like this moment to me feels a lot like I remember 2007 feeling when I was working, but I knew that in the industry I was in there were layoffs coming, and there had been layoffs, and I thought, okay, it's time to like really figure out, do I actually need to have this Netflix subscription or whatever? I did very deliberately cut a lot of my own spending and saved a lot of money because I really didn't know what was going to come in terms of my job.
Yeah.
Um, and if that's that to me, that's a little bit what this moment feels like to me, and I'm guessing I'm not alone.
No, I mean, I was on MSNBC this morning, Early this morning. Early this morning. I'm still grumpy about it. But I mean, I'm in a chair at 6:05 getting hair and makeup done because network they make you do hair and makeup. So I'm sitting there with like curlers in my hair, and she's like, and I make the joke I always make, which is you don't have to try that hard. I'm an economist. Like, really, nobody's expecting me to look that good if it says economist under my name. And she's like, "Oh my God, you're an economist? So is a recession coming? Do I need to, like, stop spending money on the fun shit I like spending money on?" And I was like, "Oh my God. Oh, we gotta." Yeah, it's a great question, and I think it's part of a broader question of how do recessions affect you,
Yeah.
person in the economy? Are you supposed to do something in recessions? Well, there's nothing that you have to do or are supposed to do. During recessions, there is a heightened risk, especially at the start of the recession, for layoff. And most people associate recessions as a time when a lot of people lose their job. But that's not true. Recessions are actually a time when it gets really hard to find a job. The spike in layoffs that kind of kick off a recession don't last for that long. So you'll maybe have 3, possibly 6 months where layoffs are higher than they normally are, but getting all of those people out of unemployment takes a really long time. And what characterizes recessions is it taking a long time to find a job.
Mhm.
So,
But
you
what
know,
you were saying about hiring data suggests that that's already the case.
yes, right, which is why a recession right now it's like kindling.
Yeah.
You just throw a match down and it could light really quickly because we typically, I mean, hiring slows down leading up to recessions, but not this bad. But you person in the economy, I mean, the thing no one really talks about in recessions is that if you don't lose your job, you're probably fine. If you don't lose your job or your partner doesn't lose their job, you're fine because your income hasn't declined. What happens in recession is you have a large mass of people whose income has declined and they have a drastic reduction in spending. And so your posture as like person towards recession is, you know, how likely do you think it is that you could lose your job? Arguably, you might not know. You might not have a great sense of it. And so a lot of people, either because they don't have a great sense of it or because they're just really scared either way, pull back their spending. And in the months leading up to recessions, you see like belt tightening, people canceling extra activities. Maybe I won't go on this vacation. Maybe I won't go to this concert. I'm going to put more money into savings, pay off my credit card and do all those things. But, funnily enough, all that stuff does pull back economic activity. So some of the decline in household consumption that you see in recessions are the households that are directly affected by layoff and job loss and unemployment. But some of the decline is just other people afraid of layoff and job loss and unemployment. And they pull back their spending some too. But no, I mean, for a lot, I mean, we don't say this part out loud, but a lot of people will go through recessions totally fine and unaffected. And in fact, upwards of 90% of people will go through a recession totally fine and unaffected,
Interesting.
especially but because I mean, it's rare for unemployment to get to 10%,
Yeah.
and not everybody in the economy works. So if you just I mean, even if you assume that everyone unemployed has a partner that's affected, you can get to, like, maybe 10%. It's just they're so acutely affected.
Yeah.
And this is what makes recession so cruel, is that some people will be fine and other people will be I mean, it's just lives shattered.